What's up, guys? It's episode 6 of the quad entitled Go Tell It on the Mountain. We got a special guest. Once again, check us out.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, this is the...
Yeah,
I love
long
this song.
scene at the beginning.
My mom sings this every time it comes on the radio. I think it kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, it ruined it for me, and I don't even know your mom.
Come on. Like,
I like this.
I love my mom, though.
Anybody want to duplicate that beginning scene? Can you hear that? Or you did that? Oh, no, what's up, guys?
Okay.
Welcome to episode 6 of the Quad, our after show. We got a special guest who had he has Oscar moment on TV today. It's a pleasure to have him. We're gonna intro him, but first let's intro us. You want to start?
Alright, you want me to start? Hey guys, I'm Lynneisha, and you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Lynneisha_33.
Hi, guys. My name is Eva Hill, and you can find me on Instagram at Eva Hill.
Hey guys, my name is TK Trinidad. I will be doing the live chats. I saw all your comments. Ava is still single, so hook her up. You can find me on all social media at
I
TK
hate them
Trinidad.
so much.
Trying to help.
We got the DMs popping for her. Yeah. Me next. No, I'm DeAnJilo. Follow me on Twitter at DeAnJilo TV. That's DeAnJilo or at DeAnJilo on Instagram. But let's talk to our special guest first before we get into anything. Introduce yourself. You know, who are you? Where can they follow you on social media?
I'm Jake Allen.
Woo,
Right now you can follow me on AFTERBUZZ TV with you fine people. But on social media, you can find me at Jake Allen 85, JakeAllen 85.
Yes.
Well, everyone wants to go ALLEN, but I'm Allen with a Y. So yeah, you can follow me. I'm always posting photos and everything about the show.
He is very active because that's how I tracked him down. I literally started
Yeah.
following him, and I was like, hey, come on the show. So
Well, I love that all of you guys respond, live tweet,
Yeah.
and really interact. I think that's a great way to interact with fans.
It's easy when you love the show you're on. I tell you what.
Well said.
Pleasure.
Hey, well, firstly, thank you for joining us. He had to drive really far. We're in LA, and I'm sure you had to deal with traffic or something. It's not fun. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for being on the show with us. So I do my research on my guest. All right.
Okay.
So we know Jake Allen is from Dallas.
we don't do anything.
Yeah. I feel like that was kind
D'Angelo
of
and the Pips.
low-key kind of a burn on you guys.
I do my
These ladies always shut it down. This is the only way I stay relevant by doing my research.
Who knows the most then?
No, TK holds it down for us, to be honest. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
But anyway, so as I said, I do my research, and Jake Allen is from Dallas, Texas. Unfortunately, is a Cowboy fan.
Wow.
We're going straight to that. Going straight there.
Hey, we don't hold anything back. But he's a vet in the game. Is also a screenwriter, which I thought was really interesting, seeing that. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to start with a question. I'm going to just do that. For you as a screenwriter, I just thought it was so interesting. What kind of insight did that bring for you as an actor, or did one influence the other for you as a...
They definitely both help each other, I think, in different ways. From the screenwriting helping the acting, I find that it's two things. One is you just have an immense amount of appreciation for the writing, and you really are able to look at every word with better detail, because you know as a writer how much each word is important to that writer. So you know that each word counts, and you know that it's there for a purpose. You know that a comma or a period is there for a purpose. And so as an actor getting ready for a role or an audition, maybe you really can dig into the script better and have more of a respect for it, which will always come through in your work. And then the second thing is just being able to break down that script better, faster, because you know what to look for.
Right.
You're quicker to find what a writer was going for. You know, when the phrase oh, what were you going for here?
Right.
I find that as a writer/actor, when I am breaking down the script, or we're shooting tomorrow and we just got to rewrite, and I see the new pages and I'm freaking out because I have to be on set in 9 hours or something like that, I can just breathe and go, okay, what are they going for here?
Right.
What's different from the last rewrite, and why did they do that?
Interesting. That's I like that. That's very insightful, actually.
Thank you.
My other question, and you guys can jump in whenever you want, but so you are one of 2 non-black people on the show.
Wow.
I didn't know how to say that.
Cool.
Okay. All right, let's hear where this is going.
Yeah, this is a great question. How do you?
You said it.
I toot my own horn a lot. So how do you?
Let's do it.
One, how did you prep for a role that involves you being on the HBCU, and then another layer of being on the football team and being the competing for a quarterback spot?
Yeah.
What was that preparation like for you?
Well, the HBCU question, I would answer that I didn't prep because I'm a white guy from Dallas and I didn't know much about HBCUs, and neither does my character Bojan. He comes from a super small town in Texas, and as you guys now know after you've met my parents on the show from this episode, they do not know much about black culture and certainly not about HBCU culture. So when I got the role, I purposely did not try to go on an HBCU campus. I did not Google a bunch of research about HBCUs because I knew that was going to be part of my character's journey and what he was going to be learning about. So I wanted to do that at the same time. So we kind of go on the journey together, I guess.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So did you learn how to play dominoes the day of?
I learned the day before.
Nice.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
classmate Jazz very nicely sat down and taught me dominoes for a couple hours. A lot of math in that game.
Yes.
I didn't see that one coming.
Oh, it gets
Yeah.
real, man.
Yeah,
But I was about to say you had
the
that
alcohol
slam
to it,
down
too.
pat, though.
Yeah.
That was like one of the most important rules. Was
Yeah.
like, you're slamming like
Yeah.
a little girl. Like you need to slam
Have you
down.
Have you never played dominoes?
Oh. That was when we were shooting that scene. Actually, I wasn't slamming it down hard enough. Apparently.
Yeah.
So finally, like, God forbid I get directed on my acting or anything like that. I'm like, what? Am I there emotionally? Am I getting the words right? Is this what you want?
Great.
And they're like, okay, you just need to kick the table when you put the domino down. 'Cause
Nice.
They need to go everywhere.
Yeah.
It's got to fly. That was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I knew how to play dominoes or something like that, then it wouldn't be as good.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
The character's supposed to be learning about it. That's literally the scene. His 2 new friends are teaching him how to play dominoes. So I can teach you now. If you want.
Yes.
Just play
I was
dominoes
waiting
for the
for
rest.
you to say that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then you asked about the football as well,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
That was interesting. I've played football my whole life, but I was a receiver. I played receiver through college, and it was definitely easy to turn on kind of football mode. There's just a way of life that comes with being a football player that I was able to really quickly understand and grasp when it came to those type of scenes in the locker room, on the field, things like that. But specifically, like playing a quarterback, the actual athletic moves that come with it and just the difference was immense. It was like learning a new sport. It really was. So I have a new respect for quarterbacks for sure. I feel bad for all the my quarterbacks of the past that I complain to. I'm like, oh, you guys had a lot going on.
A lot of putting it together, thinking, opening up, and okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any, before we get into the show review, do you guys have any questions for
Any
Jay?
football questions from the ladies?
I mean, when you said Dallas, I'm sorry. It's just kind of,
She was done after that.
bro.
Where you
it's just like I'm from Toronto,
Okay.
which is I have no say, but Dallas.
Dallas
Dallas is like the equivalent
Canada.
like Jacksonville and like Detroit Lions. It's just like you stay true.
Exactly.
But, it's
Exactly.
yikes.
So
I'm more
Toronto,
college
you're
football, so-
Maple Leafs?
Yeah.
Maple Leafs, Argos, Toronto Raptors,
What's the Argos?
Argos, CFL,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
and then Go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
Go down.
What
Yeah,
about you
where
guys?
I'm a college football person. So
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I like football, but I'm more. I mean, where I'm from, like the Southern culture, it's really into like we put our lives. Sometimes when I go back home, I'm like, you guys, it's just a game. Like, it's crazy how people act over college football. But it's part of my culture too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that comes through a lot with my character.
yeah.
How important college football
Yeah,
people
I mean
think
it's
is
a
and
big
It's-
deal.
yeah,
It's like
it really is serious.
It's
Yeah.
serious business. So
Let's talk about the hot guys. Amen to that.
Yeah, for me it's kind of the same, more so like college football.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Chicago, so we want to talk about those Bears.
My roommate on the show, Junior, or Miles Stroder, is from Chicago too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Who's your college team?
My college team? I mean, the GAMU, Mountain Cat, Georgia A&M. We're undefeated right now.
Oh, that's a perfect segue.
You were getting all the brownie points right now, I'm sure.
Very true.
Yes.
Well, look, like before we, like, I think it'd be interesting to really kind of talk about the scene with you, and we'll kind of like review that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just so we were setting the scene with Jake. I know I'm like stammering it. I don't know why. Jake,
Doing
Does
fabulous.
it make you nervous?
Yeah, does
Is it his
Jake
blue
makes me
eyes?
so nervous.
You're doing a
Wait,
fabulous
is it blue
job.
or
I can't look
gray?
at him too long.
Was it what?
Your eyes.
My eyes are blue.
Yeah. It's throwing him off.
He's getting lost.
I'm also not used to having another guy here to support me.
Oh
Usually
my
me,
gosh.
like-
You act like you're being
Did you
abused on the
see,
show.
like, somehow he lost that I said just now that you're doing a fabulous job. I'm over here supporting you.
Oh, thank
You know
so
what I
much,
mean?
Eva.
Did you listen to the show last week?
I did not, but
Okay.
however,
I think you're gonna take back that compliment after you listened to last week's
however,
show.
he did tell me that he threw me a little bit under the bus. So
No, we've been trying to get. See, she just needs a little help, so we've been trying to find her a man. Are you single?
I see.
I am, yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
But she said she's never even been to Venice.
Oh.
well, I
That's
mean,
where I live. That's
there's a
tough.
reason to. Now there's a reason to go.
Yeah.
Right, you can take
True.
her.
I've never seen her speeches
I
before. Never seen her speeches before.
Wait, so do you date black girls?
Yes.
You did like
Have
everything.
you seen the show?
Wait, oh, that was my.
Oh yeah, that was a good
Okay,
scene
so
too.
like,
Yeah.
here I'm trying to figure this out. I thought you had a girlfriend before. Like, who was the girl you were talking to at the gas station?
We're going into that.
Like, who are you? Like, what do you?
No, I mean, I think that's another part of, obviously on the show, it goes into every aspect of college.
Right.
Every aspect from the students and every aspect from the administrators.
Right.
And college, long-term,
So you
or
do have a
long-distance relationships are tough.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, but
Plot twist.
that might not be the end of her. I'll leave it at,
We'll
I'll
see.
leave it
Okay.
at that.
Cliffhanger too.
Yeah.
Well, like, look, let's get into that scene with your parents. Do you feel like, or did you guys feel like, I guess openly, do you feel like that his parents are racist? Would you describe them in that way, or like?
I don't think so.
I
I don't think
Mom,
so.
I would say no. The dad, I'm on the fence between, is it just because he's from a small town?
Yes.
Or is he racist? And sometimes there's a thin line between the two.
I think because it's a small town, and they're probably, I guess you can fill that part in. I'm guessing it's a small town, there's not that many black folks, and it might be more segregated, so you're just basing it off of the stereotypes that you see versus interacting with folks. I find people who are in more diverse situations, they're more accepting of different races. So I wouldn't say that he's racist, I'd say that he's more prejudiced based off of the stereotypes that he's seen. That's kind of how I interpret it.
And do you think, and I asked this objectively, not as like from the character's point of view or anything like that, I would ask though, do you think that because you're from a small town, that all of a sudden it's not racist? If that same guy was saying the same things, but he was from Chicago or from Toronto,
That's a good point.
wouldn't you say, yeah, he is racist?
Very dependent, because you have people, like for instance in Toronto, we don't have as many segregated areas. So it's very hard for you to be like,
Racist.
Just in one situation, like in, all black folks or all white folks or whatever. It's very hard. Like you have to actually intentionally do that. And even if your neighborhood is full of like, like we have like Little Italy, even though your neighborhood might be filled with like Italian folks, likelihood of you going to a school where it's all white is very unlikely
Sounds
in
like
the
New
city
York.
of Toronto. Yeah,
Honestly,
it's very
'cause
New
it's
York.
hard to be
to be segregated.
in New York,
So
it'll humble you real quick.
Yeah, so I just find people who, like, for instance, I didn't hang around Muslim folks until like I was older, and I actually ended up personal training a group of Muslim women who ranged from like wearing the hijab to not wearing the hijab, and affairs, like just the whole gamut of drama. And I'm like, oh, y'all just like Christians, cool, I get it.
Yeah.
And now because of that interaction, I know I understand, and I'm now more like, okay, like I don't come with the stereotypes of it. And I just find people who are from, and not necessarily a small town, but people who are from like, just don't have that advantage of being around different cultures.
true.
All you do is you see, Boom Chica from the block on
Right,
TV,
you
and then
go
you're
for
just
the
gonna
see.
say, this is how everybody is.
You do come to know stereotypes
Yeah.
much quicker, and learn to go to that stereotype, as you probably see with my dad on
Yeah.
the show, very fast.
Do you think that your dad would be, given his personality, do you think that he would be more open, I guess, to understanding Black culture on the show? Like, do you think he has that type of personality, or do you think he'll
My
kind of
dad
be
on the
stuck?
show?
Yes. Or do you
I
think he'll
think
just be
he-
stuck in his own? He'll never evolve.
I think he's stuck, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Well,
too old.
I think if not even allowing me to do it,
Yeah.
Perhaps he doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to come and take out my roommate to lunch with me. But for him to not even allow me to be happy there, I think is someone who's stuck.
Yeah. And it also reflects too on how big of an influence parents do have on their children and what their children have to go through, when their parents don't really approve of what you're
That's
doing.
what I love
and
about the show.
what do you think that does for audience members? Like, how do you think that they can connect with that?
Yeah, well, I hope that parents too, but obviously I'm coming at it from
Are able to reflect
the
themselves.
student. Yeah, hopefully
They
there are
don't.
college kids out there watching the show.
They don't.
I mean, hopefully they're just enjoying it.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you should just be watching it and enjoying the
And
twists
enjoying
and
it,
turns
right,
and
yeah.
the drama. But I do find, especially on Twitter and social media, that a lot of the reactions I get are, "Man, I relate. I felt like that," or
great.
that
Yeah.
happened to me one time or whatever. And it is in college, especially freshman year. It is your first time living away from
Yeah.
home for an extended
Figuring it
period
out.
of time, figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I found that oftentimes, with my own college experience, and it was reflected in the show, is that it is definitely a time of maturity and expanding your horizons. And I found that on the show and in my life and in most people's lives in college, you expand in a way that you didn't expect. That is part of the expansion, is not just exactly who you were growing bigger, but going different.
Right,
And for Bojan, it's getting involved in dominoes and like making friends he never thought he'd be friends with.
Yeah.
And I found like a lot of people that react to the show have similar.
Right.
Like, I went to college and made a whole new group of friends. I think that's why there aren't as many like cliques
Right.
in college, because you end up, maybe you're on the football team, but you end up having friends somewhere else or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that is true. That's a
So
good point.
I think we talked about it a little bit. Bojan, what's the chick's name? Is it Lakeisha? No, it's not. That's your name.
Taisha?
wait a minute. I knew it. Taisha.
Yeah, Taisha.
Taisha. So we noted last week, like your pickup line of Taisha was, I personally think was like on the weaker side of things. Now, that was the writing though. I'm not, putting it on you. But so I'm just, curious, and I don't know if you can give this away, if they like instructed you to do that, and then
The
like
shyness?
the shyness type thing, or that's just how you interpret it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say instructed. But yeah, it's we talked about the writing, and when I read the writing, that's how I saw it. And that's how we all worked it.
I don't like her. Can I say that?
Why?
I just don't think that she's giving him I don't know. She's kind of giving him a hard time. I don't
stood
like
up for
that.
him.
That's the whole. See, so
No.
you weren't here last week, so let me give you the
right.
breakdown.
No.
So my thing is that it just feels, from personal experience, white guys, they approach you a little like not as aggressive as black guys do. So essentially, how Bojan did it on TV is essentially how white guys like approach me all the time. Now it seems like are you agreeing with me?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
please.
So it's,
Well, no, I have
He's like,
Speak for me.
please.
I have a really intelligent thing to say when you're done.
So it seems like with Taisha, like if they actually expand that character a little bit more, one of two things will happen.
Okay.
One, he'll either not necessarily become like super aggressive, but he'll kind of like figure out what
Toughen
makes
up?
her not toughen up, what makes her work and what makes her what turns her on. Like it might be being a little bit more assertive, right? And then that might be a really good dynamic. Or two, she's gonna realize, okay, well, this is where he's at, and she's just gonna run the show.
You know
it's gonna
what?
go one or two ways.
Why can't it be that if a nice guy approaches you, you
my God.
just
But
take it?
Because she has a strong personality. Like I
Yeah.
just said, she ended up taking up for him when the parents came. Like, she has a strong
She did.
personality.
She did.
So
I
if
give
her
her that.
personality isn't
I
really
give her
stronger
that.
than
Yeah.
mine or on my level, then she may not
I give her
respond
that.
well to it.
It's not necessarily a
what I
nice
like
guy
about her.
thing.
Yeah.
But
That's
how
her strength.
just the whole movie thing, I just didn't like that. I mean, how she kind of brought someone else. I mean,
She didn't
the closest
realize.
hand, yeah.
She didn't realize that he was asking her on a date.
Yes, she did.
She did.
I think so.
She did.
She did.
Yes, she
but
did.
he didn't-
Women are
I think
not.
she
Listen,
did.
women are not. We have a. We're smart. We know.
But I
and
think
she
it was to force
knew.
his hand to,
To make a move.
And I
actually
wish that
make
in
the
that
move.
right, and I wish that in that moment that he would have toughened up because I just
That's
didn't
why
Isn't
I
like.
that just what I just said
I've
like
said no,
30
you
minutes
can't
ago?
No, but like from the get go, like I wish
Yeah,
that
but
he.
that's not like. What do you want to say?
Well, what I was going to say when you were talking about the shyness and did I read that or was it kind of written on the page to be like that? And I think there is something when you talk about a white guy approaching a black girl, there is that extra amount of nervousness because if he does get shot down, he's not the guy who got shot down. He's that white dude that went for the black girl and got crushed.
No.
You know what I mean?
Do you have
I
personal
totally
experience
agree with that. Yeah.
No, but
Oh,
I think it just...
Why do they always just say yes to you? Is this what you're?
I personally don't usually come with that type of shyness.
Oh,
I either
okay,
maybe I'm too shy to talk to the girl at all, or I go straight up and
Oh my
say,
God.
and my roommate's not coming. I don't care if he is way bigger than
There you
me. Come.
So
They are
no
a
traffic.
trip.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
beautiful.
I love this.
You better see
Oh my
that.
God.
Look, all right. So I think we saw a lot of good things in that scene in regards to the dynamic. So definitely looking forward to that.
Girls,
Yeah,
I
let's-
think we
let's
saw a lot of great
talk about
things.
it.
I think we gotta talk about the rest of the show. No,
Great.
but so another thing that, like you said, we see a lot of realistic things from the college, and one other thing we get a lot of insight into is like, what is it like to be a president of a college? So we've seen a lot of Dr. Eva Fletcher, and so today we got a little bit more details about the process of the divorce and the marriage and where they are. So I mean, we have to talk
It's a
about the
lot.
scene. It was so thick that we had to rewind it back
Yeah.
to hear
Yeah.
the
It's like,
information.
what happened?
I was.
He
a lot.
Jake was like explaining some stuff to us so we could really get it. How did you guys feel? I guess my question would be more so, how do you feel about their relationship in this divorce process after the revelation of how things started with them and all of those things?
He's a judge.
He
He don't need that money.
Yeah, he doesn't need that money. I feel like it's like kind of get back money. And then also like I feel like her revealing that it was more so like I dealt with you can't deal with mine. Like
Right.
you want to come at me like this hard when you had a whole girlfriend, you had a child on the way, and I dealt with that. And she was like, he even said her like called Eva the other girl's name like during sex and,
And
things
the,
like
and the,
that.
the earrings and
Earrings.
stuff like that.
The
That was
earrings, like,
creepy.
please, like wear these earrings. We're adamant about making her wear those earrings, and then they happen to be the other girls. But now you just want to like nail me to the cross because I had an affair. Like,
Yeah,
not
the
fair. That's not
earrings
right.
did it for me. That's
Yeah.
That's crazy.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine how she found that out. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I don't think that he would just confess to her. Oh,
No.
P.S. Those earrings on your ears are, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe an old photograph.
Yeah.
oh.
That's what I don't know. That's how
Oh,
I
I was like, are you revealing something?
No, I don't know, I
telling
don't
us something?
I have no idea, but I always
Okay.
imagine Eva finding
Right, because like, how do you
photograph
find that
and
out,
seeing
you
those
know?
earrings on
Yeah.
his former girlfriend.
I mean, what would you guys have done in that moment?
You don't even want to hear what
right? I was like,
do you guys
Oh,
do y'all think? I have a question for
Uh-oh.
y'all. Can I?
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
Oh.
You got
Because
it.
I wondered this, and I would love to ask next time I see Anika. I'm going to ask her this. I wonder if, because Anika we saw in last week's episode originally didn't want to have a baby, but when she got pregnant, she went through with it because her husband wanted
The child.
wanted to keep the child.
Right.
And then when we find out this week that he had a previous relationship, that there was a miscarriage, and they lost, he lost his girlfriend and the baby. I wonder if people think, and I wonder if Anika thinks that Eva kept the child to like make up for that, and it was almost like, oh well, he had to go through that once. I can't make him
go
do
through
it
it
again.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
totally
Kind of forced
agree.
her
Yeah.
hand a
that's
little bit,
mm-hmm.
and
So
put so much pressure on the relationship.
is Derek? I guess now after this, you feel like Derek's more and then at fault with everything because Eva did cheat. I mean, I'm not excusing it, but all I'm
I
saying
mean,
is
it
it's a
definitely
fact.
reflects the dirt on his end because, you know, if that hadn't have been exposed, I would still be looking at Eva like, well, you cheated. You know what I mean? And then the person that you cheated with, followed you to your new job and you still cheat again, and then you're wanting to make things right, you know.
Right.
But I mean, it definitely makes the problem equally yoked.
Yeah.
So I mean, they both did wrong. I mean, now I don't really know what side to. I mean, if anything, I will say that I don't agree. If you've already cheated and you know it's wrong, why would you turn around and do it again? So on that end, I don't agree
What do you
with
mean,
Eva.
her sleeping with Jason again?
Yeah, but I mean, they both cheated. So I mean,
Have you seen this?
Right.
I'm
just saying, you know.
I love this. So I think
I'm just a hopeless romantic, I guess.
I mean,
That's so sweet.
I definitely keep it, but I'm just. I think.
Don't let her taint you.
Oh my gosh. I just have a little bit more realistic approach to things. Like everybody comes with their baggage. So just because we didn't see his baggage on the initial, and just because he's hurt and now he wants all this money, it's like, no, you're a judge. You did this. She sacrificed stuff. You sacrificed stuff as well. If you guys are both financially sound, then don't come ask me for. And then he's staying in her dream house. No, it's not gonna work. I don't care if I cheated on you, because another thing about cheating is that there's a high likely that the reason she cheated is because something was happening to propel her to somebody else.
Because I think we said that when we were first trying to figure out what went wrong with them.
Right.
Like, with a woman, more than likely something happened.
Yeah, like if he was
force
laying
her
it
to
down
that.
and she was happy, the likelihood of her going somewhere else is not.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely explains, their relationship. Because at first I was just looking at her, and now, I mean, they are kind of both are to blame. So
Trini Boy at 27 on the live chat says, "Be a real man and move on." That's what he says. I agree.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Okay.
She did try to make it work.
She did.
She
did.
He was the one kicking her out
But
of
then,
the house.
she cheated again, so that's why I'm like.
No, she didn't cheat again because he kicked her out of the house and you said you didn't want a relationship with her.
Yeah, so that was
And then she had an itch, so she had to.
But then
get it
homeboy
scratched.
followed her to her new job, though.
Well, she can
Well, that was
control
creepy.
that, yeah.
But then he took his shirt off and sometimes.
That's not an
What do y'all-
excuse. That is not
Sometimes-
an excuse.
Sometimes it has to pop off.
No,
and,
it does
he's
not.
there.
What do y'all think of
What?
Jason besides
Being
No.
hot? I think that's creepy. That would kind of
Yeah.
scare me.
Yeah,
I
that would scare me.
yeah,
I would be
that
like,
kinda
why
scare
are
me.
you here? You know?
Yeah.
And then he showed up to
No.
that party too.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
he's
it's
borderline
kinda
creepy.
yeah.
a bit much.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If you really want to move on, you have to fully commit. You can't want to move on and then have homeboy come to you and be like, "Oh, your shirt's off." So,
Yeah.
no,
And
come on. You know what? Do you agree with me?
Of course I agree with you. Yes. Of course I do.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
See,
But
Partly because I think I'll get in trouble. If I don't agree.
that's
You
not
made it
true.
just
Don't get yelled
Fun
at.
man. It's very fun man.
That's not true. That's
So,
not true.
all right.
Venice is not too far away. Yeah, we good. Let's
All right, okay.
We're done with Jason's six pack for
I think
Yeah.
I can move on. I'm
Yeah.
ready. So here's something interesting I want to throw out to you guys. So Dr. Eva Fletcher's counter nemesis in the show has always been Cecil. I've seen in the past few episodes him softening towards her and defending her more. Case in point, the very first scene, or I guess the very second scene, when they're in dialogue with the other band leaders, he's talking and his left hand man Derek.
Yeah, no. Danny. Danny Brown.
Danny Brown. He is ready to badmouth her again, and he's kind of really trying to push it to the side. Do you see that? Is that something that I'm making too much of?
Wait, you talking about the drum major, or are you talking about the other guy?
talking about
Oh,
the
Cedric.
Carlton.
Carlton. There we go. Thank you, Carlton.
Carlton.
So
Yeah.
that scene, they're talking. He
Great
asked
scene.
them. Yeah, it was a great scene, and he asked him. He asked them, "How do you get rid of a female?
Right.
How'd you get rid of a female president?" And again, this is the third time I've seen Cecil kind of deflect or soften to her, one way or another. Do you see him? Do you see that? Is that something that you guys would infer that's going to continue, or was this just a coincidence?
I don't agree. I think he's concentrating on the competition that's coming up. So he has no time to. She's here, right? So if what's his name? Is
Carlton.
Carlton.
Yes.
So Carlton's already on a mission to get rid of her. So why does Diamond doesn't need to do all that, because Carlton's going to do that itself. His mission is to win this.
Yeah.
So I don't think he softened her. I just think that his focus has shifted to getting the work done. Because if you remember that dialogue between them, he was like, the difference between me and you is that I don't just dream and write it down. I act on it and make sure it gets done. Which is just kind of I wish I need to clip that. It's like the perfect motivational speech. Don't talk about about it. Just do it.
Yeah.
He's a
And
man
then
of
yeah,
action.
be a man about it. So I don't think he softened her at all.
Yeah, and I think it's just because he's not doing it right now because yes, he has these other things to focus on. So like I can't lose focus on one thing trying to take down another. Like he's got to balance it. So right now, this is my main focus.
Right.
Yeah.
When I'm done with this, then I will address.
What do you think?
That's kind of how I look at it.
I go to his illness.
That too.
I can't imagine that doesn't weigh on him with every decision that he makes, both good and
Bad.
possibly bad. And I think as his life is maybe reaching a interesting point with his sickness, I think he's looking at his decisions a little differently
He's
now.
getting
and how
humbled?
He treats, yeah, he's getting
Yeah.
humbled. You know, I think karma is kind of itching into
definitely.
the back of his mind about how he treats people. And certainly when I think it's hard for him to ask for forgiveness from his sister when he's treating another lady so
Right.
like
so
one. I
poorly.
think the whole thing with Sydney has really softened him too. Like I think that
Yes.
scene, I think
Good
that
point.
scene when they were discussing a little bit was kind of him showing, because he's been really defensive for her. Like there's been no question to him. He's like, this is
Right.
rape. Like
Yeah.
we don't.
He was hurt as a kid.
Right.
Right. So I think that plays a large role. I think so. I guess my next question for you guys is: so we didn't see Sydney much in the episode, but we saw her best friend, roommate Michelle all throughout the episode, and I would say that we saw her. Madison.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Real name's Michelle.
Real name's Michelle. I was
Real
like,
name's Michelle.
Madison.
So, because that's
Call
funny
her
because
Madison Michelle. It's
no, when she was here, I called her.
You called her
her
everything.
character
Yeah.
name. Yeah. It's too close. It's too close. It's not my fault.
Madison and Michelle are not close at all.
Anyway, so
Two M's. Come on, give him a break.
give me my segue, God.
They give
Working
you
on
no.
this.
They give you no room.
You see what I'm dealing with on a week-to-week basis.
I gave it to
So Michelle / Madison is dealing with Sydney's pressure. I feel like the pressure that she has when it comes to like, if she was on campus, people wanting to represent her, use her as a representation for rep case, and then also having to interact with the quarterback. How did you feel like Madison / Michelle? How do you feel like she handled it on campus? I got it out.
I feel like, as far as like with the girl, the representative, like the representative for what sexual assault,
Right.
Or whatever. I just felt like she was a little too aggressive, like, and so would she have been the same way with Sydney when she's like, well, where is she? What is she doing? Like, okay, she is a victim. She's hurt. She has to process and deal with what she just went through. So aren't you supposed to be a support system and a support team? And you're coming, you know what I mean? So I just felt like, and Madison handled it well. Yeah, I was just because I'm like, she was just too aggressive and too, just coming on too strong to her, asking where Sydney was, and we need her for okay, well if she can't do it right now, she can't do it. Like,
Yeah.
And then as far as like with Terrence, it was like you have the audacity, even if that's how you feel, like that's treacherous water to go in. You know what I mean? Like just say like she's lying and blah blah blah. Like that's her friend. You know what I mean?
That's
like
interesting.
I think that was a bad move.
Yeah,
I
that's
think it was a
interesting.
bad move. You know what I mean?
How-
Because I just would have like even if you feel that way, talk to someone else. Don't talk to me about it when that's my best friend.
Right.
How should he handle it though if he feels that type of pressure and he justifiably feels like he didn't commit rape? How does he
Especially
go
when he talked about look at the tape again and
And
see
look
how
at
she
she's
was
smiling
smiling
and-
after. And given her character, we know how she can be. So even when he said that, I kind of thought about it myself. Like,
He is
well,
putting himself on the line there.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not saying
well,
that.
what if she, what if she kind of did know? I mean, you
Right.
don't know, and it's wrong to say that someone wasn't assaulted if they were. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's a sticky situation to call something on if you weren't really there. But when he did bring that up, I found myself going, wow, like what if she did kind of remember that? And what
Right.
if she did kind of know what they were doing, you
Right.
know?
I think he's grasping and he's desperate, because this all goes down. He loses a scholarship. He probably loses education.
Yeah.
And if he totally felt that, they were both tipsy and he took it another way, the only person, if he can't get to her, which, was a total bad move to get to Sydney, the only person he wants to talk to is somebody who he knows is a close friend, because maybe she does look at the tape and maybe she does see that and maybe she does reason with her. I think he's
a
just kind of,
gamble
he's just grasping because there's nowhere else to go. He's
Well,
not
we
going to
saw
talk to her
look at
mama.
the tape and like look kind of confused too. Like,
Yeah.
That moment, that scene. So maybe there's a little bit of justification to it. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, given her character, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I mean,
I mean, the
What's that
the point
supposed to
is
mean?
to
Like, I'm not really a fan
discussion.
of.
Both perspectives, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
show
just.
both, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we just don't really know the full story. And given, Sydney's character, it's just sometimes she can be a little conniving, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know about
I
that
think
one.
what
I don't know.
maybe you could speak to this too, because if you guys have done the PSAs as well, like during the episode, which I really enjoyed.
Good.
I think I think the scene or the point of it is to kind of open up the perspective to not just, because me personally, when I hear rape, I definitely side on the side of the female no matter what, but also the pressure that comes with when you're an athlete, the quarterback, the team's doing well, and you know what I mean, like the pressure of dealing with like having to live up to the expectations of like having sex and getting girls, but also like in that moment, like what that's like for a guy as well, which I think is really interesting. Like I mean, I've never been in that situation, so like I can understand it to an extent. But what was it like for you guys? That scene when it was recorded, because we had the director on here when they were recording.
Jeff.
Yeah, we had Jeff
nice.
Bird. Yeah, and just how awkward it felt, but
Doing the
like
sex
just being
scene.
part of that.
I'll call it the sex scene.
Yeah.
Keep
And
it
then
objective.
also the PSAs and stuff that you guys have done.
Yeah. I mean, well, first and foremost, I was not there for.
Oh, you weren't there. Okay.
Which
Probably a
is
close
part
set.
of. Yeah,
It was a close
exactly.
set.
Which
Okay.
is my answer, I guess, is that it was kept very private, as it should be. For both actors. As you said, for a guy, it's tough to be like, okay, you need to go in and be this, monster. You need to go be this animal and violently abuse her. And at the same time, you're asking Jazz to go through what would probably be the most traumatic thing in a girl's life if that happens to you. So I think them both respecting that at least allowed them to be on the same page. Because if one person didn't, or one person did and one person didn't, then I think there would be a problem. But I do think, and I remember them both feeling this a little bit on set, that it was really hard last night and that hurt, and it was we were in the friggin' bushes,
Right.
But that is what happened, and so I think as long as they just know, and as long as they kept in mind when they were shooting, that hey, in a couple months, this could really help some young girls, or this could help some collegiate athletes. Keeping that in mind, I think, allows you to go through those hard moments on set.
Yeah.
That's well said.
You left that speechless. That was the first time
You have
ever.
to try to remember those things, that eventually someone will see this and you want to do it justice.
And I think last
Even
week,
if that's the antagonist, if that's the rapist or whatever.
And last week, I think one of the big things that I learned from listening to you guys is, one, the importance of support systems in general, especially as a female going out, but then also just not putting yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
Is the biggest
Yeah.
one. I
It
think
really does go both ways in that, and they show her showing up at the same frat house,
Right.
where she got too drunk before and was making out with another girl
And got
passed
warned.
out. And she gets warned right as she goes into the
Right.
party.
Right.
But I think the point is also that it does not matter how drunk the girl is, if she's hooked up with 10 girls before, you know what I mean? If she made out with the whole fraternity at the last party,
Right.
there will never be an amount, I'll use a bad word, there will never be an amount of sluttiness that makes it okay to rape a girl.
Yeah.
Period.
Like, doesn't matter. And I think that's also the point.
Yeah. Well said. So, one of the last things we saw was, we saw a lot of Noni again, and perfect segue.
Let's go in.
So,
man.
man, I've been defending Noni all season.
Man.
So, all right. So
Talk
we
about a
can't stand
conniving
her.
character and things like
I
that.
like her.
I just don't
We
like
we
her
had
at
I like
all.
her.
we had a long argument about
Oh, yes.
if it was okay for her to take
It
the
is
spot
not okay.
from
Ebony.
from-
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Do you think it?
You better say the right answer.
Don't look at her. No, right, this is just personally how you feel, because we're split on this.
I'm thinking about sweet, sweet Zoe watching this right now. Like, what do you think, Jake?
How do you feel about how that was handled initially, just taking that position?
I think she should have talked to her first.
Exactly. That's
Exactly.
What
I don't
See?
think that she should have quit the band.
I agree with that.
No, you didn't.
You
No,
said she
you
should take a
shouldn't.
position.
You said she shouldn't take
Well,
that position.
she shouldn't take the position. She shouldn't have taken the position. However, if she was going to take it,
You're
She's
switching,
gonna
you're switching
say
up the game now?
if she was going to take it,
Inconsistency.
though,
I know.
she should have at least talked to her before she did it
I
instead of
swear
just being
that's
on
what
the
I said from
team.
episode
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
team.
what we said.
That's
like she could
yeah.
talk.
No, you guys were
No.
like,
No,
listen,
no.
if the position is open,
Yeah,
your girl
I
gotta
was-
do what your girl gotta do. And I was like,
I
She couldn't
said-
talk to her in that moment, of
Right.
course.
I said
but-
the position's open. You still need to take it, but the fault is that she should have let her know from the get go. Like, look,
I don't
I
know.
understand everything that happened, but this is what's happening. So if she does come back, she's not going to be surprised. And then you're like, oh no, you can't do that. You just leave
I
the
just
position.
don't-
And then we
because-
said that if there's a hosting position available and you are down for the count, we're both going for the
now,
job.
acting wise,
And we'll
I
let
would
you
feel
know.
some type of way. Don't take my acting gigs, but if you want to take a hosting one, it doesn't really
All right,
matter.
Team Ava, if y'all listening, I know
I
y'all confused on where to go with this.
Now she's
We
kind
are
of
too.
switched over a
We're
little bit,
confused
but
as
okay.
well. But that's cool.
All right.
At least you
Saying.
came
She's
to the
still
right
single,
side.
y'all. So DM her.
If you gotta stop. You gotta stop.
She really had DM, so we can't put the
I know.
I hate them so much. Look at
So how do we feel about Noni now, knowing that basically she called the guy, the band leader, gave the information. What is her end game? What is her goal? Because initially I thought it was the
She
band.
manipulates every single person she comes in contact with.
I think if Danny didn't threaten her, it might have been a different outcome. Like the
Yeah.
fact that he came to her and he's like, I know what you did after this.
And
I'm
she
gonna
knows
teach
what he's
Yeah.
capable of.
Right.
like,
I'm gonna-
physically.
She's seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
yeah.
teach you a lesson.
And she kept looking at his phone and the sheets and stuff like that because we were trying to figure
Right,
out like
why
what's
she kept
her
looking at it.
what is she doing, and so then she flipped him off with that weird.
Why was it so stiff?
That was,
Yeah.
that was-
She's just always up to no good.
but anyway, at the end, so I think it was to make it like how it came across because the Diamond, he thought that it was Donnie, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
So that was her purpose to kind of
Get rid of him.
get him in trouble
But at the
again. Like the
expense.
first one didn't really work because he found out, okay, now let me try another one,
Yeah.
you know?
I also
She's just
think-
always up to no good, in my opinion.
True.
I mean,
See,
I think
agree.
she's
She
I think
is.
she's
But
put
don't
in
you
some
think she
predictable
could've been, like-
situations.
Maybe playing the long game and helping Ebony out a little bit
How?
by getting Danny kicked off the team. The guy.
Oh.
I mean, that's kind of how I chose to justify it.
I don't know. I hear you.
You don't think she's like
I don't
that
think
higher
that's what
power?
she was.
Honestly,
I think she,
that's
I don't
pretty
think she was
bad.
there.
That's pretty
That's
amazing
very
if that's
chess
her.
move-ish, yeah.
If that's her intent, that's pretty amazing, and I will take back everything I've said.
If that's the
But-
case, she would have been talking to her though, like not saying this is my plan, but like just in communication
Right.
with
Yeah,
her.
that's
Yeah, and
That's
see,
the
that's
only
the thing.
thing
Like,
I like,
when
yeah.
has she
Why
ever
would she
really
hold that?
like
Yeah.
shown remorse for taking her spot the way that she did? You know what I'm saying? Like, she never really.
That's true.
They had one encounter about that situation, and
Right.
she stood
And
in the
what did
hall
she-
like,
yeah, what did she say? I
mute.
forgot what
Nothing. She
No,
didn't
she
say
said
anything.
something like, "Oh, it wasn't your spot" or something like
Yeah,
that
it
to
was your
take
spot.
or something
Yeah.
like
Wasn't
that.
your spot.
Right, but I
I
mean,
can't-
like on
yeah,
Noni's
that's
end, like
what-
what did she like? I haven't seen her have any. There's no remorse there as to why she took the spot or anything.
Yeah.
She's dirty.
Oh, so before.
just saying.
I think she's got backed into a corner on several occasions. Like she was very passionate about joining the team, then she didn't make the team. Then there's a position that opened up, and essentially Diamond offered her that position. So she had the two choices of not, doing that, which is something that she's aspired to do, or doing it. And Ebony's not there, so she chose to. I definitely think she should have contacted Ebony, which is what I said, what we said the
I
first
think she
episode.
needs some
But
friends.
she does.
Yeah, but when you act
yeah.
like that, how are you gonna have friends?
He's right.
But and on the flip side
So
too,
angry.
You know, like.
I think you just lost your invite to them.
Oh
I just, and on the flip, and on the side too with Danny, I think she felt threatened, and it's just kind of like I either can and it's sometimes in situations it's like you do something and your parents is gonna whip you, and sometimes you know it's gonna happen, and sometimes you just have to take that beating. And I think she hasn't learned that lesson. Like sometimes you have to take the L. Like okay.
But he's not justified in what.
Not to say he's justified, but I don't think she should have done that. But I think she felt pressures. Like, okay, I'm gonna either get my ass whooped, and I might not be on the band, which is what I really wanted. I just sacrificed all this friendship, or I can give him this information. So even if I do end up getting my ass whooped, I have somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
So I think she was just, she's just in that
She's
situation.
go ahead and transfer.
Well, here's another thing though. Like one thing I actually just thought
She
about.
might be able to now.
Oh, right, yeah.
She's go ahead and
Wait,
go.
let me get this before you. I
Go ahead
think
and
there's
go.
a thing. There's an aspect of like, okay, it's a norm for them to kind of abuse in the. It kind of reminds me of like hazing in fraternities or sororities. Like, and there's a side of her that's not bucking to the system like how everyone else is. Granted, she didn't like tell the president of what happened to her former roommate, but I think that's a commit because I'm always looking for a way to defend her. That's a commendable aspect of it. Is
Reaching.
well, I mean, because the fact of the matter is, even Clive Taylor, who's the president, he said that there was abuse going on back then too. So this seems to be a norm in the band.
But see, is she normalizing it by even wanting to be part of the band still, even after seeing Ebony and what happened to her? You know what I mean? Like, would you still, as a woman, knowing that a man is head of that whole process of getting onto the band, would you still put yourself in that situation, knowing how your roommate just had a concussion over the same situation?
That happens on sports teams, fraternities, sororities. Like
It's just more, it's hazing.
Yeah, you take that chance.
Well, I mean, there's consequences with
is.
hazing in fraternities and sororities, and it's just, why put yourself in that same situation if you just saw your roommate go through what she went through? You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you want it that bad, though.
Yeah.
If you work that long to get there, like for instance, they work that long to get on an NFL team. They literally spent 15 years of their life to get to this NFL team, and there's been stories where the first year all the team goes out and they leave the first guy with the check.
Well, anything you get on a negative note never ends on a positive note. Just saying.
Or she may look at it like,
I need to fact check that. I'll think about that and come back. It did sound good.
But she didn't look at it like it may not happen to her. Like, I think the point that you're trying to make is like you said, she's trying to go around the system and around the hazing, or like trying to get back. Like, I'm going to pay tit for tat. Okay, you're going to do something to me, we'll get you back.
Right.
So she's kind of may look at it like, I can control this.
Trini Boy 27 asked, how does Jake feel about being on this amazing show, and did you have a similar experience in college?
Feels amazing.
Good answer.
I love a show that is really entertaining while sending some type of bigger message. Yeah. And it makes the work that much more enjoyable. It makes the hard work really enjoyable when you know you're sending a real message. So like my character is going through domestic assault, domestic violence. It makes that hard process much easier knowing that someone on Twitter is gonna reach out when they see and go, man, that was great. I kind of felt that way, or that happened to me once. So that is amazing. And then the second question was about my college experience.
Your college experience.
Yeah, where did you go?
I went to Cornell.
So did you have the same? Did you have a similar experience in college? I guess more in like the football aspect.
I would say yes on the football aspect, no on the cultural and family side. My parents were very supportive of me going to Cornell. There were no problems there. It was not a problem. It was more at the end of college when I told them, thanks for that Ivy League education, but I'm going to go be an actor and not use my history degree.
So wait, how did they take that?
They took it pretty well. We had a nice sit down. When I go to Los Angeles, my brother was already living out here, and so I basically was like, I'm gonna.
Is he in show business
he's
too?
He's a director and writer.
Okay, so they're kind of already used to the.
Aware of this. And I told them I'm gonna go work in the entertainment business as well, but I'd like to be in front of the camera. And my dad pretty much just said, are you gonna work at it as hard as you did football and graduating from an Ivy League school? I said absolutely. He said, "Okay, like we're behind you."
I mean, that
That's a
speaks.
nice parent.
That speaks volumes to like athletes, especially if you get to that point. I mean, how many hours a day were you training?
A lot more than I was studying.
Yeah. So I mean, to get to that point and graduate, which is not high with a lot of like football players in particular.
It's very
I
difficult.
mean, it's hard. So I'm sure your dad gauged that and like, okay, if he can do that, then life is.
Are they loving the show?
They are. Every minute of it. They call me after or take screenshots and all that stuff.
Aww.
Which again,
Precious.
it makes the hard work so easy when you have a great support system like that you know is going to be watching and loving this. My mother was actually on set when we shot my high school flashback when I fight my high school coach, and she was like just
Emotional?
crying. Yeah,
Aw.
very emotional about it.
Well, I mean, that's great. That was great too, because homophobia in athletics, that's a whole nother topic that you could dive into.
Yeah.
So seeing that scene, they kind of brushed on it, but it was even cool to see that incorporated.
And I like the fact that he stood up to his father in this last episode. Like, you know, his father is so used to kind of telling him what to do, and because of your new friends, you're kind of like, okay, you know,
Doesn't have to be like that.
Right.
Yeah.
You talked about how maybe he's not racist because he was from a small town and that's all he knows. There might not have been a lot of black people in his town, and so he doesn't know how to handle it or doesn't know what's good and bad. And I think for Bo, he's probably pretty similar. But when he gets there, the more and more time he spends at GAMU,
He sees things differently.
Yeah.
to be like that, you know. I think when it comes to African American culture and things like that, it's twofold. I found that it was like, oh wow, I'm kind of like learning a whole nother culture. This is awesome. So different, and I like this and I like that, and I enjoy playing dominoes, like whatever. And at the same time, it's like I go to the movies and do the same stuff. Like we're all just people,
Right.
you know. Like it's a twofold thing, which is really cool.
I love the fact. Who was your roommate? What's his name again?
On the show,
Yeah.
Junior.
Junior. I love the fact when like your dad was about to hit you and Junior steps in. He's like, you know, because I was raised in the church. I love
And
that
I love
line.
how they were just not going to leave. Like,
Yeah.
I love
That
it.
was
They
great.
were just like, no. So, given that, did they obviously knew the relationship between you and your father then?
Did
Because
they?
how did
Did
they
they?
know how to just stay?
I don't think they knew the physical violence that happens with me, except for I think that Taisha knows some because of what I told her
About the
about
bully.
my
Yeah.
history and growing up with a bully.
okay.
You know, I think you can pretty quickly put that together, especially the way that he talks to them whenever he enters my dorm. You know, he refuses to shake Junior's hand when they first meet in episode 4, I think, and so I think you can infer
Right.
some
Yeah.
things pretty quickly.
There's just some real friends. I'll give
Yeah.
her that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Other than the
But she
movie
gives
situation.
me the strength to
Yeah.
stand up.
All right.
Yep. Because I was watching Don't Mess with Those
All
Ishas.
right.
Yeah. And she, I also, you were talking about just taking the L, and I think for Bojan, that was his moment of like, I might get a beating, but then I'm never gonna have to deal with it again.
Yeah.
You know, then at least he'll know.
And not only
exactly
that,
where I
but
stand.
you have support
Yeah,
while
I
you're
was gonna say,
getting the
you knew you had
beating. You know what I'm
support.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's like you feel more, even though you he hits you, you
Yeah.
have more
Felt empowered,
confidence,
yeah.
right?
Exactly.
To
'Cause that-
stand your own
yeah.
ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was represented as like your ultimate like bully. Like the reason you spazzed out on the coach was like it was kind of you thinking about him on the
I
inside.
think I was taking
Yeah.
it
So that was
all out.
It was a big moment for Bojan in the episode for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I liked her in that moment. I'll give her that. Now the movie thing, but I'll give her that.
I think she was kind
I'll
of
give her
playing
that.
with me a little bit, don't you think?
I think it was a little aggressive, but if she was playing, then she was playing. I'll give her
Your
that.
style's a little different. That's all.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's-
it's just if there's
that's
a
fine.
nice guy approaching you, why do you have to do all that?
So what
Just-
what you just would have went to the movies?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But different styles.
I
It's
know,
all right.
it's
We all
okay.
different. No,
It's
we're
okay.
the same. So, all right. To close it out, let's do some like
Predictions.
predictions. We
All right.
saw Dr. Caesar Diamond fall out. If you wanna make
Your
a prediction
AfterBuzz
about
I knew it. I was
TV
waiting on
prediction.
it. I was waiting on it.
We don't. Why
We
don't we
like
get the
it, though.
long version?
I
We need the
mean,
lights
yeah.
and the drums.
I
Like,
was waiting on it.
It was a short. I guess that's cue. Like y'all need to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wrap it up.
speed it up.
Go faster.
so yeah, do you guys just any open-ended?
Honestly,
predictions?
the show takes so many twists and turns. I don't even know. I
I
don't know.
think I'm just like,
Give me
you go
one.
first.
Come on.
Someone
I want to hear these.
All right.
Tell us if you're right or wrong.
Uh oh, she's
Yeah,
ready.
so
Pull this out.
I'll
Don't
give you
spoil
a few. So obviously Jason's gonna come. I think. Not obviously. I'm telling you because you already know what happened. So I'm telling you what I think happens. So I think Jason's gonna come back into the picture because we haven't seen him. I think in the last 2 episodes. The husband, if he gets that money. Yeah, that's not
He's
gonna
not
happen.
gonna get that.
Yeah.
Does anyone
I don't
like
think he's getting that
Derek?
money.
I liked Derek
out of
until I
curiosity?
found out. I liked him until I found out that he was a judge and he had his own money. He's like, why are you asking me for? Because I thought he was for a hot moment. I thought he was unemployed. Like, okay, like I can understand.
Would
You know.
that be okay?
Well, it's not okay. it's not
Like
okay,
is
but
relative.
like if he, in my mind, it kind of formed like, okay, well, if he was unemployed and he helped her out all these years, then that I can roll with that. But the fact that he's a judge and he's, you know, it's just more injured pride. I can't roll with that.
Because I liked him until this episode, honestly. Because the whole time I was kind of just looking at her and what she was doing. But now that they were both doing things, now I'm looking at them equally in that aspect.
Yeah. So I think Bojan's gonna get some chocolate, hopefully. Danny Brown, the drunk. I love when you're giving me like the straight face, like you're not giving me anything. I was kind of looking at the corner of my eye, like see if you're gonna give me any.
If my eyes are like terrible.
Yeah, you're right. Danny, not just, we have viewers who don't want to be spoiled either, so we. Can't,
okay.
You know,
well, I mean, I guess so.
Don't spoil it for them.
I read the end of the book
Tell
first.
us after.
Whatever. So Danny Brown.
She reads the end of the book first.
Yeah, I read the end of the book first, and then I go back and read it. Yeah,
okay.
I do that with movies and TV shows.
You're cool.
Yeah, well, just do my own thing. Danny Brown and Noni, I think there's definitely going to be some type of friction
I want Noni to get humbled.
I see that. Yeah. I hear that.
Cedric and his, because I think we saw in the premieres for next week Cedric and Bryce. So I think Bryce is gonna.
I was gonna ask you guys about Cedric. We didn't get to talk much
about
his character.
I think he has a lot of growing up to do because from coming from a single parent and the situations there versus coming down south. I think he's gonna. I hope throughout. I think we only have like 2 episodes. Two episodes left. Mm-hmm. So I think throughout. Hopefully the next 2 episodes, he's gonna grow up a little bit more. Because I think he's like very much in his own world.
But they show the clip like next week.
With the gun?
Yeah, I guess
Chantel's
brother.
Oh yeah, Chantel's brother
comes up, and then it's like, and if you were in that environment, you know, and like they're kind of realistic and hinting on something like Chicago is really their violence, it's real, you know what I mean? And if you kind of grew up in that, to take you out of it, but the moment it kind of comes back, it's hard for them to walk away from that. And then also that was your girlfriend, your love. So I'm hoping that he doesn't make that and then end up in jail for real.
Right.
So I hope he doesn't go that route.
Like he takes the adult situation, like, you know, I'm in school, I have an opportunity to change.
Right.
You know,
I hope he goes that way.
Facing the brother,
right?
You know, and she came to Atlanta to see Cedric.
Right.
Gets killed in Atlanta, where Cedric,
where
they got lost. If you're the brother,
blame
Cedric. That's a little blame on him.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't look good.
That is got to play into it.
Yeah,
Like,
he's supposed to keep her. He's supposed to protect her. So
what do you think would happen if Bojan and Cedric?
What?
If they met each other.
Oh, I was like, where are we going with this?
Oh, no.
I was like, what are you trying to tell us?
Do you think they would get along?
I know, that's what I was like.
Because I feel like they would either.
Here first on AFTERBUZZ.
We're gonna take a real turn on this.
Alright, cool. They attacking you now.
Right? I almost made it.
Yes.
Do you think they would get along? Because I feel like they'd either be best friends, because they both have this kind of troubled childhood. They both have this kind of anger inside them and things like that. So I think they would either really get along or brawl.
It would be dependent on Cedric because Cedric is closed, especially with this whole situation with Bryce. Like he was embracing Bryce, and then the father pretty much, you know, said, "No, you're beneath me." So I think he's very close, and he only trusts the people who are already around him. So it really will depend on the moment that they meet. Like if his guard's lowered. If it's not, then he's just gonna treat Bojan essentially like, okay, you're on the football team.
Trust.
No trust, all this stuff. So it just really depends on how they interact.
He did come after the football team in a rap a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I haven't forgotten that.
Have they renewed the second season yet or no?
Waiting.
Still waiting.
Keep spreading the good word.
We gotta
Spreading the
get
good
that.
word.
I can imagine
the
like
second
the
season.
anticipation of just wanting
It
to
is.
get that news. Ugh.
I think they're waiting.
As
You
an
know, on a
actor, I
TV
feel
show,
you. I feel you on that.
In a movie, you have an arc, and by the end of the movie,
It's done,
your
right.
arc's done. The story is complete. But on TV shows, it's ongoing. You know? So we had kind of a mini arc. I finally stood up to my dad. But Bo's story's not over. You know, he's still not even starting quarterback. You know, things like that.
Bo needs to get laid.
Cedric, like I haven't gotten laid yet. Like, come on. That in its own.
Back home.
I mean, Bo needs
Exactly,
to
back
experience some
home.
chocolate.
That doesn't count.
Yeah,
You know what?
Bo needs to get some chocolate
We're
in
gonna
his
put
life.
it out into the universe.
gracious.
There's going to be a season 2. We're gonna
Yes.
just claim
Throw
it.
it out
We're
there.
all
It
gonna
better be.
claim it.
Yeah.
We're investing in
Thank
the
you,
show, too.
Jesus.
Yeah, we got a lot of
Hallelujah.
season 2 love last night
Yeah.
with the social media.
Hallelujah.
We're getting close
It's
to the
gonna
end.
happen.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah.
predictions?
Yeah, I didn't.
Cut you guys
That
off.
was a long one.
Yeah, I think it's long.
Honestly,
where,
there's so much going on. I can't even make a prediction. I just want to just take it in as it comes.
Also, before we wrap up, everybody that's been giving us your comments and all stuff, we really, really appreciate it. So keep those comments coming. Love the people in the live chat. Shout out to y'all. But thank you, engineer, for not giving us the light. But I think it's time to go.
Wait, before
They don't
we
play
go,
the music like
Yeah.
on the
I know, he's being nice.
Before you go,
Oh, I'm
are
waiting.
there any future projects that you would like to share with your fans?
Yeah, I just finished shooting a movie in Oklahoma called Overexposed. That is a cool thriller. It's kind of a small town murder mystery, and it also hits on some socially relevant topics. It kind of it's a story about a girl that gets caught up in a sexting scandal, and it leads to murder, and then more mystery, and I kind of get enthralled in it all. Kind of starting my own investigation into what happened in this small town.
Any word on its release?
We just finished shooting, so I think right now they're just trying to edit the best movie they can.
Word.
But I think it'll probably be around next fall.
So something for the Jake
Exciting.
Allen fans.
Yeah,
to look
it's
forward
real
to.
different from Bojan, so that's
Oh, that's
I'm excited
exciting.
for people to see that.
Show your versatility as an
Exactly.
actor. Would you guys like to tell you? Oh, go ahead.
Where can they find you?
They can find me on social media. I do Instagram and Twitter at Jake Allen, Allen with a Y, at Jake Allen 85.
Would you guys like to sign off as well?
Yes, so I'm Lynneisha. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Lynneisha_33.
My name is Eva Hill, and you can find me on Instagram at the Eva Hill, and I don't have any other social media. I'm working on it.
My name is TK Trinidad.
my
I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. My name is TK Trinidad. You can find me on everything: Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever, Snapchat, all that good stuff.
LinkedIn?
Everything.
LinkedIn.
Everything.
Wow.
It's real.
Why she put
Wow.
your LinkedIn out there?
Wow.
It's real.
Should I put my
She
MySpace?
said LinkedIn.
Yeah, I forgot my MySpace handle.
I don't know what my MySpace is.
Wow.
But yeah, follow me guys on Twitter or on Instagram. That's DeAnJilo, DeAnJilo, DeAnJilo TV on Twitter, and at DeAnJilo Instagram. Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
Jake.
Jake, thank you so much.
Appreciate
Well,
it.
it's a pleasure. You work with us. Check you guys
You're
next
so
week.
cute.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.